So, Mars aspecting your sun. If in your horoscope you have the combination of Mars and Sun together, or Mars aspecting Sun or oppositing Mars, you're going to get quite a distinct personality. But the combination of both of these planets are going to be very apparent in your life, right? I personally have this placement, and all I can say is throughout my whole life, I've always had this running theme. Now, I'll give you a moment to think about what this running theme is and maybe put it down in the comments. What do you think is the theme of this placement? Basically, what this placement is going to show is that this person is very strong-headed. It's hard to tell this person what to do. They also run on their own pace, right? In a way, I have ADHD. This, in my, from what I've seen with other people as well, gives a strong sense of like someone with a very frantic mind, right? They have a difficulty sitting in one place. If you even look at me, when I'm making videos, I move my hands a lot. I myself move around a lot. The reason being is we find it hard to actually sit still. It's actually quite difficult because that Mars is constantly putting its pressure onto the sun, right? Your very basic essence, your essence in how to move, or who you are, your sun, is being affected by Mars, who always is on the pursuit of something. For example, right? Yesterday, I went to drop someone off at the airport. Now, the airport is a very chill place. Everyone's just trying to go off to their flight, right? I went with my family. I had two family members who I went with, my mom and father, right? So, while I was walking, another individual came behind us, and he had one bag. I had a whole buggy carrying three different luggages. But when I saw that that guy was coming a bit closer, right? When I saw that he was coming closer to us, right? And I heard that. I'm like, okay, someone is coming and he's coming fast. Something happened in my mind, in my brain, to tell me to speed up. Because there's the inherent competitive nature within us, right? So as soon as this person was coming behind me, I myself started to speed up, right? In my head, I wanted to beat this guy to get to the gate. In mind you, we were at like maybe gate 10. I was trying to get to 16. So I went forward, then my mom and dad, and just started pushing the cart much faster. And then I kept going and going and going, and I went in front of that person, but there was even two more groups in front of me. And because I started that initiation, like, okay, I'm gonna beat the one guy, I then wanted to beat the two other people who were in front of me, right? So I just went fast, 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 and I got to the end, right? Gate 16. I made it first before everyone. But then I waited for my mom and dad, and they're like, what happened, right? And then I said, what happened to me. That's what I thought. No one else in that place thought it was a competition. Everyone else is trying to get to wherever they're trying to go to, right? Like I said, it's the airport. There's no competition to be had. But that shows you how that Mars and Sun connection works, right? Another example is when you go to the gym, right? If I'm going to the gym and if I see there's somebody, like supposing I'm on the treadmill or the stair climber, if I see someone is putting in a lot of effort and going hard, and they're like, it's like, wow, this person is staying on longer than the typical person would, right? I then, while I'm doing my exercise, sometimes it would happen that I want to stay on longer than this person, regardless of if I'm already done a workout, right? I'd be at tail end, about to be done, everything. And then someone comes in, or they're still there by the time I'm feeling to quit. So if they're still going, it gives me motivation to keep going. And I will stay on there until the other person leaves, right? So these two examples tell to me that there's an unbeatable match of just competition. You always feel like it's not even to outdo another person. I mean, it is at the moment per se, but it's more of like an internal thing that once you've clicked that this is a challenge I'm willing to undertake with this person, I'm gonna see it through, right? And that is something that you will see within this combination, right? And it really does then depend on what sign is going to be involved and what things they do get competitive for, right? But right now we're just talking about how in basis this sort of energy works, right? So all the people, another thing you'll see is that these people like their independence, right? They don't like to be told how to do something. They would rather be able to come up with the conclusion themselves in their own way, right? That's been me throughout most of my life, right? It's hard to really just take what someone says and roll with it, right? Because there's such a strong desire of Mars, of independence, of drive and force being aspected to your very being, your sun, your soul, right? And you're going to get situations in which you might have rivalries, or you might have like arguments with a lot of male figures in your life. It may be difficult to make even male friends, right? Because that that energy is really off hiltered. Or you could make a lot of male friends and you could be one of the more, like a manly man type of guy with a lot of your whole persona kind of builds on that, right? So that really depends more on the sign placement and how you perceive life, right? But there is definitely a streak that you're gonna be wanting to do things your way, right? And if somebody else doesn't want to do it your way, either you're gonna have to come to an agreement, which you're gonna learn as life goes on, or you might just decide, hey, I'm gonna do this myself. And that's why you're gonna find a lot of people with an entrepreneurial spirit. Can they actually be entrepreneurs? That depends on the whole totality. But this will grace you with at least the spirit to want to do something by yourself, right? Many a times you will see these type of people, especially if it's like a square, right? 90 degrees apart, like sun is in Cancer, and then sun is in Mars is in Cancer, and then sun is in Libra, 90 degrees apart, right? So these people are always going to be always striving and always trying to push for something better, right? And if you're an emotional person, if you have emotional aspects in your chart, you need to be very careful, because this combination might actually get you in trouble. You might over push your boundaries. You might work out too hard. You might take on too many challenges, or in a drop of a second, you might be in the mood to argue or make a fuss with somebody, right? But if you yourself, you cannot go to the next step, or like be able to grace over, like talk about the issue, it might just escalate, especially if the other person has something similar to that, like supposing they have a Mars and Rahu, right? this combination, the both of the combinations coming together might create a really bad situation. So it's important to recognize the patterns we have in our chart and realize, okay, like anything might trigger this feeling, but do I want to act out on it? Right? That's when your logic has to come into play, and that's when experience is a better teacher, right? You cannot take every challenge in life, but the ones that'll help you grow and the ones that'll help you get better and learn something, those are the challenges that you should always take, right? So this is basically the breakdown of the Mars and Sun combination in a chart. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you again.